Hello, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee Review. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Little Rock, Arkansas. It is the 11th of June, and Michael and I, for the first time in over our 3-year history at Morning Coffee Review, have completely, totally randomly worn the same shirt. So
We did.
Michael has the opportunity to change, but we decided just roll with it. It's fun. Why not? So unfortunately, our topic today is Bluebeam Cloud versus Autodesk Construction Cloud, and we're both wearing Bluebeam shirts. We're totally not picking sides. I don't want it to look like that. It's not like that at all. It's more just happenstance. But it's a very nice, comfortable shirt.
I
Under Armour
know.
makes it, and it fits me well. So
It's one of the best polo shirts I feel like that I have. If Autodesk were to send us one, we'd probably wear it. But yeah, it's one of the best polo shirts I think that I have from anyone in terms of like quality.
mhm,
It's good quality for sure.
it's held up well.
Yep.
But yeah, today we're got a few things to talk about, and then we're going to dive into the world of the cloud. And why are we doing this? More and more, I'm hearing from our team. I'm hearing from Bluebeam community. I'm hearing from the Facebook Bluebeam user group that more people want to be disconnected, but they want to be more connected. So what do I mean by that? They don't want to be in the office. Maybe it's construction season, right? So more folks are coming in, handling stuff in job trailers and in trucks and on buses and on planes and not being in the office, but they still want to be connected to their projects. So what are their options? And Bluebeam users, if you've got Review 21, which you should all have by now, you also have access to Bluebeam Cloud. Now, I will admit, when Bluebeam Cloud came out, we're like, all right, this is cute, but like, give me more. And we're at that point where we have more, and we have some things that we can talk about that are pretty darn efficient when it comes to leveraging Bluebeam Cloud.
I would also say the acquisition that they just had as well. What was the software called?
So, if that's part of the news that I've got for this week, is that Bluebeam
Oh,
just
did I
occurred.
interrupt you?
Nemetschek had acquired a company called GoCanvas, and that they've said is going to integrate with Bluebeam Cloud to allow better field data collection. So, what are our options now? Right now, us being an Esri partner and myself having a GIS background, Esri has a great field worker platform where you can use your phone. You can use any phone, or if you want even more accuracy, you can plug it into a GPS receiver, and it will allow you to collect data about something that's geolocated, right? So if I'm on a job site and I say, stuck water valve, or I'm coming over here and saying that there's a right of way marker, and I'm coming over here and saying this manhole has been inspected and there's debris in the bottom that needs to be cleaned out. I can do that with different field tools. And I believe that is where, you know, tinfoil hat, I do not make decisions. I believe that's what GoCanvas is going to enable Bluebeam Cloud to do, is give it more geolocated data collection. So when you're out on the job site, you click a button and then boom, it shows up in Bluebeam Cloud on your site.
Yeah, what I'm looking at, it has like reference to data, images, forms, work hub, a dashboard, like Go Canvas for construction is what I'm looking at specifically. So, okay, if I click this button, it says like, hey, you can go to reference data and images, and this has like want to upload your own employee, download the sample title. So employee list, cool. Work Hub. Work Hub looks like it's create a dispatch. So I don't know how that would kind of be relevant, like a truck site, maybe delivery of like
Mm-hmm.
cement, well, concrete. Someone's gonna yell at me for saying it that way. Sorry. Um, in progress, upcoming, submitted. So that's your work hub. Oh, so there's a time schedule. So that's schedules of things happening on the site. Submitted. So I'm wondering if they're going to integrate this into the cloud platform because it says join forces. Did they acquire them or did they?
Nemetschek acquired GoCanvas.
Okay, that's what I figured. So Nemetschek acquired Go Canvas, and then this next one is what am I looking at? Integrations. Well, this has like some type of like hazard UI as a form submission. So I would be interested in seeing like the integration into the cloud platform. So almost which is funny. So Go Canvas just got acquired, but before that, they had the integration into ACC platform. So I would assume if they're acquiring Go Canvas, it's not going to be like an integration with Bluebeam Cloud into ACC. However, maybe pulling your documents into Bluebeam Cloud, utilizing the cloud platform out in the field to mark up more efficiently, more the review way of your PDFs, and then pushing them back into ACC. Because this has some of that GC feel from a manage of a CA perspective of a project.
Right. It's adding a little bit more construction administration functionality. And so it's been an exciting time in the Bluebeam world. And we are going to talk about Autodesk Construction Cloud too, but we need to back up to what we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Autodesk and Nemetschek announced, some sort of open API where they're going to sort of be working together. I don't know what that means. I don't have a crystal ball, but it sounds like they're all working towards a more integrated workflow. If you've seen some of my other LinkedIn posts, I've been talking about other integrations that Autodesk is doing with water infrastructure and Esri, and all these other programs are starting to work together for the greater good. It's kind of cool. It's unfortunately it's all expensive software, so it'd be nice if they worked together, and they are getting there. But for the most part, eventually there will be an integration on the Autodesk Construction Cloud Bluebeam side through that Nemetschek agreement. But this Go Canvas thing looks to be separate for now. But who knows? We'll find out. It's going to be an exciting time, and the rate of improvements that we're seeing from Bluebeam, it's exciting.
Yeah, it'll be quicker than what we're typically used to of like a 5-year span of things being released in terms of new technology, but I would say probably in about a year we'll see a full integration of some sort, if not sooner. Okay, so if in terms of comparison, so I guess let's talk about what is available now for like from an integration standpoint. So currently, right now, in what used to be an integration from BIM 360 into Studio Sessions, which we all now know Studio Sessions is also in the Bluebeam ecosystem of the cloud, which is the ability to mark up live via a web page, hopefully soon to be in the application, so you can be on your phone at the airport, live collaboration on PDFs. So it used to be where you'd have to have Studio Prime, just so we're all aware that's a separate subscription. But what it would do is it would initiate a PDF that lived in Docs, so BIM 360 Docs. You would initiate a session through the Open API into Studio Session on your desktop application, right? And then you could mark up. When you close the session or you finish the session in BIM 360, it would republish those markups in PDF as a new version in ACC. So you can still accomplish this not in a session. So for those folks that are using Review and prefer those markups, because we're comparing and contrasting what's available from a markup standpoint, because that's what I feel like we should start with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when you go into ACC platform, you do have the ability to go through and mark up PDFs, right? So if I go through and see if there's any PDFs here, yeah, cool. So if I come into here, you do have the ability to go through and mark up on a PDF. Now, these are the ACC markups, and just so we're all aware, ACC markups are rasterized markups. So truly, it's a layer on top of the PDF, rasterizing the PDF itself. It is not an actual markup that is being vectored based on the PDF. So when you bring this out or look at this through Review, you don't see the ACC markups, but you do if you mark up through Bluebeam into Docs, you do see the markups from Bluebeam because they aren't rasterized. I think if you do have questions, you can
right. And just as
ask
a recap,
if I didn't clarify that. Yeah.
Just to recap, if you haven't, seen the difference between raster and vector, it's a big difference, right? Raster is going to be anything old and scanned. So when you zoom in, it's all pixelated and gross. Vector is going to be driven from, it was generated by a computer, right? So it came out of CAD, it came out of Excel, things like that, where you zoom in and you get that crisp line. That makes a difference. So when you do bring a PDF that was vector brought it into ACC and start marking it up, it then rasterizes it, which therefore makes it a little gross.
Yes. So with that, okay, what can we mark up in here? So you can select, you can multi-select. So I'm assuming this just like to select your markups. Great. You have the ability to go through and use a highlighter. Oh, I forget that the zoom's different. So can't really select the text. I would assume that's because it's rasterizing it to be in the cloud. You can use a pen. Let's scroll out. What do we have for markups? You have a cross that you can change. You have the ability to go through and use the circle. I'm not going to go through all these, but there you go. Can you edit this circle though? Yeah, let's see. But you can't change your arrow. Okay.
No.
So there's that. You have text. Low. Now, the one benefit to this would be if you're already in a solution and you're sticking true to a single solution because it's a single source of truth, right? That would be one plus, meaning the design team's already in Autodesk Construction Cloud and they're publishing into docs, sets, and vice versa into like build. So if I go into cloud here, can I go through and mark up on it with a Rev Cloud? You can. You have a call out. Perfect. Same thing. Just not a lot of like modification to information here. You can also wait there, just so we're all aware, within docs, there is a publish feature. So if you wanted to wait to send it out for everyone to have access to it, you can wait to publish them or unpublish them so people can't see them. So
yeah, so the difference there is that if you're marking up and you don't publish it, that makes it available for you to view. So only when you open it, you're going to see those things. When you publish it, if anybody else opens it, then they see them.
Yep. I really think, I mean, I don't know, because it's been a while since I've been in the field, because I probably wouldn't use markups. I'd probably use issue tracking, and I would just live model issue tracking, right? Versus marking up in this way. That's probably the route I would go back in industry versus marking up here. But that's just my opinion. So there is issues on a PDF perspective, but I would prefer to do an issue tracking from not a 2D standpoint. If we're using Autodesk Construction Cloud, I would rather leverage a 3D model than a 2D PDF, right? Because it's right there at our fingertips for coordination purposes, marking up or something's not modeled correctly, right? Or for this instance, if I went and said, hey, this door is out here in the middle of nowhere, I would have seen this in the model versus the PDF, right? And then done issues. But yeah, we're doing this for just the sake of being able to go through and show, right? So you can add a reference photo, you can measure. So you can't
can measure, but you can't snap.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty rough eyeball estimate.
Can't snap, and again, I would believe that's probably because it's rasterizing it via the web browser. You do have area, cool. So you have area, you have freeform, you have polygon, you have freeform line, you have polyline, you have calibrate document.
Did you already calibrate this document? How does it know what scale
No,
that's
what I was wondering. Let's just go to a typical doorway. And let's see.
There is a scale bar on this drawing.
Oh, good call. I forgot this is the out of the box one.
Yeah, but you still can't snap to it, right? So your calibration is going to be off. Ooh. I don't know about you, but an inch is an inch. You know, that's not tight enough for my liking.
Yeah, I wonder if you would have to go to like, since I can't see the line weights from end to end. Oh, I guess end to middle.
Yeah.
But then how do you know the difference like wherever else you're measuring? I don't know. So
right. So very rough. I mean, obviously, Autodesk does have a better takeoff program, aptly named Takeoff, but that's meant for more 3D workflows and model-based workflows like Michael was talking about. But, there are some things that are a pro for this 2D workflow, right? And one of them is that now I was getting all excited and then I had to temper myself because in AutoCAD, not Civil 3D, not AutoCAD architectural, in AutoCAD, plain old vanilla AutoCAD, eventually these markups that you make in ACC are going to be able to come over to AutoCAD and they will be visible. So it will make the red line markup coordination workflow pretty darn easy, right? So that's where, hey, I'm on vacation, or not on vacation, I'm away from my office, but I need to go see those new plans that Bobby put up on the thing for me to review. I can go make up some markups on my phone or my iPad or my Surface or whatever web browser I want, go in, and then Bobby will then be able to open up AutoCAD and say, hey, look, I've got changes that I need to make, and it will allow those sort of coordinations, which will be pretty darn slick once it all gets sorted out. But nobody's using plain AutoCAD as much anymore.
And I was gonna say, like, if you come back to it, I can just come into here instead of going through the model itself of a 2D plan. And this is something we're not comparing because it's completely different, but like issue tracking directly in here, right? Like, hey, there's a coordination or a model issue within this specific area here, and then you're assigning it to a person. This you can already do from a Revit standpoint and issue track directly inside of Revit and address those issues and change it, and then address the actual issue. So it just comes to it comes down to like, well, we're comparing 2D, and that's what Jason was saying. Like, hey, at some point in this, I think that'll be cool, right? For those folks that are modeling in AutoCAD who are still in that era.
Drafting in AutoCAD. There's no modeling in
AutoCAD. You can do something like this. That doesn't even scale right. Can I scale this down? No, that's terrible. What do you do in this instance? I guess you rescale the PDF. Does that change the size of this? No, like I can't even rescale it because it's a DWG. So they just have a big rev cloud for an area.
That's kind of gross.
That's what I'm saying. It's weird.
Yeah, so there was a comment from David, if you can't mark up accurately, right? So our scales are off, calibration's off a little bit, how would it bring into AutoCAD accurately? And it wouldn't, but that's not what you're going to be using this for. You're going to be using it for call outs. Hey, move this door. Hey, this is spelled wrong. We're missing a table, that type of thing. It's not going to be, an actual design thing where you're going to draw in a new wall or structure or location of something and have that come over geographically. It's just going to be more of a typical markup workflow.
But let's open review. So outside of those markups, and okay, your team doesn't want to use ACC markups because of the limitations of what's available. What options do you have? Right? Because we're not going to pick. We're just going to inform and make you all have that, not make you, but will allow you to make the informed decision is what I'm trying to say. There is a workflow. So you can't go to file open. The only downside to this is that one person can have it open at one time. The one plus side of ACC is you can mark up simultaneously on a PDF, which is a rasterized image. So really you're marking up not at a PDF simultaneously like in Review, it's on an image simultaneously in ACC. So the downside, if you open it up in Review, is another person can't have that same PDF open. So if I were to go to here, I can go to Docs. So everyone has access to the desktop connector, whether you've installed it or not, is up to you. So basically from here, you can go into your projects. And from this point, you can access, I forgot where I have PDF right here. Okay. You can access any PDFs you have in Autodesk Construction Cloud. Now, for those folks that haven't used the desktop connector, the new one, just so you're aware, you do have access to decide what projects you want to have access to through your files here. So just being aware, that you are selective on what docs from the desktop connector shows up in your file explorer. Reason for that is some of us have like hundreds of projects and we don't want to have to see all of them. I think you are only limited to be able to select 44 of them, 40 something, 40. Yeah.
That's still a lot of projects. You got 40 projects going on at once, then whew, I feel sorry for your free time. You don't have any of it.
So what you can do is I can open this up, and I can mark up PDFs. So what I'm able to come in here to do is mark up. Let me go through and actually just do this from this ACC project. I don't believe I have that one open. So let's go back and see. Did I have the Kyle Lee's? I did. Okay.
Sandbox, yeah.
Yeah.
So in typical Michael fashion, he hasn't updated. So according to Caitlin and some of the other folks in the chat, with the new update to Desktop Connector, you can get 80 projects instead of 40, which again is just too much. It's too much, but
yeah,
hey, you can do it.
And there's issues with like working in. I think the issues with Desktop Connector are version specific. So like, if my update was from 15 to 16, I'd have an issue, right? Yeah, there's 80 projects right here. But my update version is like the points, I think.
16.8. Oh, I'm probably way behind myself, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know, because I know there was an issue with like going from 15 to 16 transition and working in a project in ACC. So you have to be diligent on updating, especially when it's a brand new version. I just haven't been working on projects. Typically, when I go and work on a project in ACC, I make sure I update to the latest version.
And keep that in mind for the IT folks on the call. Desktop Connector does require a bit more updating, and if you don't allow your users to have local admin, that is something that you're going to want to make sure is taken care of, and everybody's on the same version.
Yeah, like look at they did a 0.0010 update, but yeah, being aware is hyper diligent for working in ACC, especially when updating. This needs to be up to date. So, and that depends on like linking methods. You should be using an external reference. You shouldn't be using link through Desktop Connector. So I guess that's just more of being aware of how you're leveraging ACC. Whenever you link a file, go to external references. You do not go to docs. Just so we're all aware with the ACC platform part. Now, you do have to use the Desktop Connector when bridge is happening, but I'm not going to get into training right now. I'm going to continue onward. So going back into here, because I can feel Jason just staring at me, laser beams. So going back into here, you have the same PDF that's in ACC that we were just looking at, and we saw a bunch of markups that were on there. So I'm going to hit open. And these are the markups from Bluebeam. But if I go back to that same PDF, I don't see the markups from ACC, right? I do see the markups from Bluebeam, but not the markups that ACC made. So be aware of that. And now I can see that I can be in it. I can still mark up, but I still have this open. If I go to docs, I will say that it does lock it. So let me open up a new window explorer here. Trying to do 10 things at once. But basically, if I go into here, I go back into Kyle's project. I go back into here. I see that this one is open right now by me. Well, it doesn't say by me, but it says a green checkbox. I can come into here and do this. It will show a lock. I did this the other day. Basically, when I come into here and I hit save. So let's see if I right click on this, it's going to definitely. So if I hit save, I go back into here. It's locking it because it's syncing a pending. So request a lock from ACC in terms of file locking so it can publish a new version. Great. So it unlocked it. I probably could have seen like in the same time of me saving it, is it doing something? Well, yeah, see, it just It's like a blue. I would assume that it's like, hey, there's a new version being published. Yeah. So there's a brand new version being published here into the ACC platform. So,
And that's one cool thing that this offers is that version history, right? You can always go back and say version one, version two. You can compare them. You can go, re-enable if you want to turn version one into version five. You can do that to make that current. And it also becomes really handy for tracking progress, either in the base files and arrangement, and also the progress of the markups as they're being taken care of.
so I will note that the review markups are still here, but the new version erased the ACC markups.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
well, it
no
says previous
ACC mark.
markups and calibration are still updating. Check back later.
Oh, okay. That scared me.
So how long does that take? And
I don't know. Because it's essentially like a layer on top of the PDF of an image of the ACC markups. That's why you don't see them in Bluebeam.
hmm,
Okay, so we'll wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Check back later. That must be frustrating if you're working on a project. Now,
Yeah.
that's why if you were doing this, I would probably say everyone on your team should be using review markups in ACC. ACC is just your bucket of storage of republished PDFs, and you're just marking up in review, right? Having that single source, it'd be like working on a PDF in SharePoint, right? It's
Right.
living in SharePoint, but you're marking it up in review. ACC Docs is just your storage platform. And if you wanted to view it but not mark up, it would be in ACC to view it on the go. But that being said, there's now Bluebeam Cloud. So if it just looks, I mean, in a true fashion, everything wouldn't be a siloed information with different technologies being able to do different things. But of course, right, in the day and age we live in, there's competitiveness, which is great because innovation happens and you have technologies being released. So which one kind of fits your groove and what you're able to utilize. So maybe from a PDF fashion, you're going to be leveraging review. Great. What's the next step too from a CA perspective? Are you invested into something like build or PlanGrid, which is integrated into Build now, right? Or do you want to use your review PDF solution and you get enough out of cloud, right? And you see kind of where they're going from a company standpoint, Numachek, who owns Bluebeam, especially with acquiring other solution providers to integrate into this CA tool, hopefully, right? Or I would assume they would integrate because you don't want to have a third app that you're going to go to, right? You
Mm-hmm.
launch something from here into there. But what really kind of strikes me would be the ability to do sessions, right? Someone from a PM perspective initiates a PDF. So your set lives in Docs, initiates a session. The session then initiates into here, but also Bluebeam Cloud. And hopefully soon to be your phone would be a game changer.
Mm-hmm. But that goes along with what Doug just put in the chat. Does anybody else think there's just too many options? There are. I mean, there's way too many options. However, these are all tools that most people have, and that's what Michael and I are here to do is sort of work with you, the community, to figure out what the best tool for the job is, right? Whether it is Bluebeam Cloud, which is good at a lot of things, or ACC, which is good at a lot of things, but neither one, I'm sort of foreshadowing here of our little grudge match, neither one is the perfect tool.
Yeah. A perfect tool in a perfect world would be one solution that does it all.
Mhm.
What was it? Is it one ring to rule them all? What is it to rule them all?
Something like that.
Yeah.
So Brian Haley's asking, in this case, is our single source of truth ACC, Bluebeam Cloud, or Studio Projects? And that's sort of a trick question because Studio Projects and Bluebeam Cloud are on the same cloud, but you're pulling things from projects into Bluebeam Cloud. Yeah, see, this is where things get muddy
Yeah.
or cloudy.
which is confusing because it's like, well, why didn't Bluebeam integrate projects into cloud? And again, I think it just comes down to like where they put their storage of creation of that solution. I mean, we all remember studio sessions being down from that migration into ACC, I mean, into Bluebeam Cloud, sorry. Everyone was freaking out about, and well do, because you were working on projects and it wasn't really announced. And there was a hiccup, obviously, when they got this into cloud. And they didn't say that was a reason, but Spidey senses, tinfoil hat. I mean, this came out, and then we all kind of maybe were aware that when it went down, there was probably an integration into here. But who knows? That wasn't a statement. That was more of just a assumption. So with this being released, though, this is the actual only solution currently that is linked to your desktop application. However, yes, you can go to projects. And when you create a project, you can upload PDFs from a project, but that's it. It's just copying them into the Bluebeam Cloud environment. So if I go to add drawings, there is an import drawing file from Studio. The Studio is just your Studio projects, and it's just pulling the PDFs and copying them into Bluebeam Cloud. That's it. Now you can push back at the end a almost what it would be like a PDF package from Studio into your project at the end. Like if I wanted to export out these files, there is a way to export out PDFs once you're done, and everything moves around.
But
Yes, export project data. Here we go.
There you go. Notice in the desktop version of Bluebeam Studio and Studio Projects, you have a lot more options when it comes to file types. You can do drawing files, you can do Revit models, you can do spreadsheets, you can do anything you want, basically, except for a zip file and an exe file. Is that right? Or just the exe file? There's a lot of different file types.
Yeah, there's some exclusions like the what's that part in Bluebeam that you can make a bunch of PDFs together?
Sets?
Yep, can't do like a sets executable in there. You can't actually do a file executable in there. But typical like FTP site stuff you can store in there.
But here in Bluebeam Cloud, when you were just in your projects, you only saw PDF files.
Yep.
So, yeah, David is that you, David? Let me scroll up. Yeah, David was joking in the chat that the single source of truth is really just the paper copy and the GC's job trailer. And I mean, while it's been true for 100+ years, it's still kind of true today for now. The big old fancy plan tables and stuff aren't commonplace, are they?
I mean, but is that the single source of truth? What if an update happened?
Yeah.
Or like an RFI?
Hey, this set of plans doesn't have coffee stains on it. I can't trust it.
So you can push it to projects. This just creates a package in projects of what's in here, everything. You don't get to choose. You just push everything into projects. So yeah, I mean, there's a lateral push and pull, but it's not everything that you need, right? So that's just what it comes down to in terms of like, hey, I want to grab a PDF from projects. It syncs to the data to the cloud. And then when I close it or push it back, it updates the project. But I think the one amazing thing that looks to be moving in the right direction would be sessions in the cloud, right? Because you can be on a web browser, have the same PDFs markup simultaneously at the same time, and see users in at the same time through your web browser. The only caveat to this is that I know on my iPhone, when you log into app.bluebeam.com, it pushes me back to the actual app. So you can't like log into your phone via a web browser on Safari. Maybe if you did like Firefox or something different, it pushes me directly to the app. And this isn't activated yet on the app. And we don't have confirmation if this is going to go to the app. But I mean, come on.
It's got to go to the app.
Yeah.
Come on. It's got to happen. Like there's no way that they're putting that much effort into the iOS or the Android app and not allowing or enabling this feature.
Yeah. So with that being said, you know, the ability to integrate into sessions, this would be awesome from a web browser standpoint. This is what you send to folks to mark up in a session, but you initiated, like in a grand scheme of things, from Docs, a session of this PDF set. You wouldn't want to just do this on a single PDF, but it's a set that initiated into review sessions. So you can use your desktop application to get the markup capabilities to mark up simultaneously. And also, if people didn't have the desktop application, you can just send them the web link to mark up through Studio Sessions here. That would be like the open integration. They already had the groundwork laid when they had BIM 360, because BIM 360 had that integration and then it was archived by Autodesk. And then now that this interoperability agreement is back in place, hopefully they re-bridge, take a note from like Bridge being here, but bridge the gap from this back into sessions would be great. And maybe things we can't even think of right now that they're going to be adding into it. So what else?
So that's a neat little trick. So you're saying take your ACC hosted PDF set, use that inside of Bluebeam Studio Sessions.
Yep. Yeah.
Is that overcomplicating things?
I mean, so it just comes down from a management standpoint of the project. So like whoever's managing the project would say, I'm going to initiate a session. Everyone already uses Bluebeam. I know that. So they don't have to worry where the PDF is stored. That way you're initiating the PDF from here into sessions. Everyone has the same solution that they're going to go in and mark up collaboratively like they've always done. They're not seeing the back end work. The one person is just going to have to publish this into a session. Everyone's going to be invited into that session, right?
There you go.
They're not going to see the back end where it's stored. Hey, I have this in ACC for the design team or whoever, but that's where my single source of truth is. It's checking it out from ACC and we're collaborating on it in sessions. Those users don't know where it's stored and may not need to know, but if they did, hey, it's stored in Docs, right?
Pretty slick. So you showed the markup, the PDF markup capabilities of Autodesk Construction Cloud, right? And there was that conversation about not being able to calibrate. Yes, there is a calibration tool, but you don't have snapping capabilities. So your calibration is kind of off. And depending on how tight you need your measurements, that could make or break it for you. 100%, I would not trust it for the type of work that I've done in the field, but is it close enough to make sure that, hey, this isn't metric scaled up? Sure, right? But otherwise, you're going to have about that inch of tolerance, which in a lot of construction trades, that's not enough. And if that is enough, please don't work on my house. But that said, there are some things that are of great value, and there's other things that we're not even talking about today, as in the power of the Autodesk Construction Cloud when it comes to working on drawings and working on Revit models and working collaboratively and working on the design side more than just the PDF markup coordination side, right? We're leaving that sort of out because that's a no contest.
Yeah, I mean,
can't do that.
That's comparing apples and oranges. We're comparing apples to apples, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So just looking at the PDF coordination, right? Most for now, most jurisdictions or clients or whatever still require a plan set, right? And that plan set no longer has to be paper, which is exciting. It has to be PDF. So apples to apples, dealing with a set of PDF plans in Bluebeam Cloud or Autodesk Construction Cloud is sort of what we're still weighing. And you've seen some of the power, right? So trying to keep review out of it, review being the desktop product. Let's go into Bluebeam Cloud and look at the markup options because they're not the same.
Yeah, I don't think they initiated measurements here yet, right? But Peter, It's been over a year since we talked to Peter, right? It was last August. It was
Hmm.
more than that. Has it been? It's been a year only, right?
It's been over a year.
Okay. He said mid to next mid of that year that they were going to get measurements, but we still got measurements. Okay. So I bet if we go back and cut it, we can find it, unless my memory doesn't serve me right. But from here,
Um, but Doug said there's an update due this month. So
ooh,
while you're queuing this up, Michael, it's important to note that yes, Bluebeam just had a price increase on the first of the month. Yes, there's already been a handful of updates for Bluebeam Cloud already this year, and there's another one coming this month. So the rate of adoption and new functions and features is coming. Now, as we learned, as you mentioned a couple months ago, that kind of backfired and it caused outage for 2 or 3 days. We're hopeful
a
that this is
week.
just,
Yeah.
it was a whole week. Oh boy.
Yeah. And it
Um,
happened twice. People were
yeah.
messaging.
So yeah, good times.
Worth it. Maybe not for some folks, but in my eyes, right? If you look at the grand scheme of things, the pain. And then people did reach out and ask, like, well, what else could we use? I mean, Sessions is the predominant live collaboration workflow. It's a differentiator between other solutions, right? So, I mean, there's really nothing like it. So coming back into here, you have markups in the cloud. So you can get access to your tool chest. Now, people have asked me this before. It is the first initiation of your publish of when you open up Review 21 into the cloud. There is no republish your tool sets into the cloud, which is frustrating, I know, but however, you can upload a new tool set from your desktop. So if you created a tool set, you can upload those. You can create one here. We've all went through that before when we were in here. But either way, you do have the option to come into here and grab some of these tool sets, which there are a ton of old ones, which is ridiculous. I probably would want to come in here and clean these up. So if I wanted to go into here, I can still place these markups directly on my PDF. There is a scale option, so that's awesome. So you can scale these up or down. There is no calibrate. There's no measurements that we talked about before, but hopefully Bluebeam does do something where you're able to go through and actually snap to content. But right now, as we can see, it's not allowing me to snap to this specific content when I'm going through and placing this arrow. Does this resnap? Nope. So it's not allowing me to snap to content here. But you do have the ability to change. You still have these same kind of abilities, not the line style. I can change my arrowheads. That's cool. You weren't able to do that in ACC as well. So you have your tools chests, which is your tool sets. And then you had your cloud. If you hold down, so is it just a click? No, it is a hold down. Cool. So if you hold down the markups, you have cloud, rectangle, or ellipse. So you do have the option to place ellipses here. From here, you do have some options here. I will note, I was talking with someone about this because we were looking at like things of looking at AVAs and looking at like fire extinguishers and being able to go and inspect them and do like a status. Kind of like what I've heard from folks doing like an oil at an oil manufacturer. What would you call that? Like, anyways,
Refinery?
being yes, being able to like turn off and turn on shut valves, right, and indicate when those are done. I was thinking, well, that would be cool if you could do that in Bluebeam, but cloud. The thing is with this is that yes, you do get your statuses, but there's no markups lists in here, right? So like, if you change this to rejected or review, that's it. Oh no, you do. Perfect. So you just click the. This is just weird here, the UI for it. So you would click the open button and it shows you this status history. That's cool, but it's just not as like apparent with a review status list down here. So
We've been spoiled for a long time.
yeah. Okay, so coming back into here, let's scroll back out. Since I am in a session, things are locked, just so people are aware when I was hovering over like information of it. This is, because I'm just marking up in a session, this is the same markups that you get in a project as well. There is the vector pen, which I believe, I have no idea what a vector pen is, but typically when I think of a vector pen, it's like 3D. vector pen would be, I'm assuming, I don't know why I thought it would be 3D. I haven't looked at the comments yet, but I would assume vector pen is that it's a vector-based markup. Wouldn't that make sense? Right.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay. So that's vector pen. There's text. So you do have the option to come into here to change color, text type. It only gives you two. I wonder if that's like only what's supported in the cloud. Colors, opacity, cool. Perfect. So same thing here. You have the option to leave a comment. So this like markups list for the cloud. So you can leave a comment if you wanted to. Same thing, change status. Okay. So arrows we talked about. Hold down for call out. You get your famous Cloud Plus, which is always a lovely tool. So you get your comment with it. Oh, I guess you need to actually.
Why'd your cloud show up funky?
Yeah. I was clicking. So you can do your like click like you typically would by place. Apparently it needs an actual comment for it to be placed. Okay, highlighter. Let's see. So is this the same highlighter as... Ooh, I can select text. That's cool. So it is true vector data. That's cool.
So there's a question. If you save a Bluebeam Studio project PDF, does it automatically update the Bluebeam Cloud version?
What was the question?
So if
you
you
still
save
multitasking.
Yeah, right. If you save a Bluebeam Studio project PDF, does it automatically update in Bluebeam Cloud? So earlier you talked about you opened up a project, or you in Bluebeam Cloud you pulled in a PDF from a project, and that you said that makes a copy of it. Is that a true copy thing? Meaning that if you update it in Review 21, does it go back to cloud, or is it a completely separate copy at that point?
Yeah, so the only integration is sessions into the cloud. Otherwise, it's a copy into the cloud platform. So think of it as studio projects and sessions. Well, no, because you can integrate it in projects. So take that back. Okay, so if you initiate a session in the desktop application, you see it here. So this is the only integration in cloud right now that is linked, dynamically linked data is sessions. So yes, my markups from sessions of this demo that I just marked up, Jason can open review the desktop application and see those markups live. He can download a PDF set. They're up to date. Projects. If I pull from projects, which is not sessions, so for those folks that may be newer to review, there's projects and sessions in the desktop application. So let me open the desktop application so don't confuse you. Projects, sessions. Projects is storage through the desktop application. I can pull PDFs from projects into Bluebeam Cloud projects. As we showed earlier, it is copying that PDF and pushing it into a project in the new cloud platform, which is a different AWS server point. Yes, you can publish those finished, not just PDFs, because it's everything in the project. From a CA standpoint, it is going to publish the drawings, the documents, the punch lists, the R5s. I forget the file extension. It may be a zip file, maybe a PDF package, back into a project if you wanted to, but it's not updating the project information. It's its new copy of what it updated from here.
Right. And that brings up a couple things, right? So we're talking about a copy of it. So be careful with that, because depending on how you have things set up, that could cause issues. Now, foreshadowing, next week is all going to be about Bluebeam Studio project best practices. So we're going to dive in a little bit more into the project side of things. And then we also might revisit Bluebeam Cloud when the project, if we need to. But what the comment in the chat was with sessions, so studio sessions, again, we're working on the same set of plans, up to 500 people working on the same document at the same time. Where the limitation between projects and sessions is that in a session, you can't replace sheets. And there's a very, very good reason for that, right? Not everybody's at the same reviewing at the same time.
I
If
don't
I
know
go
if
in
everyone
there,
believes there's a good reason for it because they
oh,
want to
I think
use
there's
it.
a great reason.
They want to use it as like a storage hub, and that's not what
Right.
it's meant to be. Yeah. So I'll let you get back to it. Sorry, I just wanted to.
Right. But that's exactly it. Like if I'm in a different time zone than Michael, we're 2 hours separate right now. If I work and I'm reviewing something and I say, hey, I'm done, I spent 2 hours reviewing on it, and then you come in and you change the file name or drop in a sheet, that means I got to go back through it. Doesn't work.
As Jason survives his cough.
Yep, that's right.
Um, so yeah, Sessions isn't meant to be updating PDF sets. Sessions is meant to be live collaboration on the current PDF set. Now, if you want to upload another document that is updated, by all means you can. Just be aware if you download a PDF from Sessions, it removes ownership of the markups. And then when you publish it back, no one can change those markups because they're from initiated on a different session, and or vice versa. If you made markups on a PDF and pushed it into Sessions, no one can change those markups because those were markups made prior to the session, or vice versa. The markups were made in another session and you can't update it in a session. That's probably like some Inception confusing things, but you can always ask us and we'll show you. So
Right. So there's a question. If you updated your sheets in Sessions, do you have to start a whole new session? And that's, you can stay in the same session. You're just going to remove or that outdated set of plans and upload the updated set of plans. So anybody who had access before is now going to have a brand new set of plans. And from there, what you could do is you could just get in there, upload a new file, put a note in there saying, hey, this is updated and this is why, and then notify attendees. And then they're going to get an email saying, hey, you need to go look at the new updated set.
yeah, this is not meant to be download this, delete it, new set of and with original markups. It's meant to be, hey, like here's a good scenario. Jason and I are working on a project. I'm going to be sending a submittal to Jason to review. He needs to review it, give me red lines to mark up so I can edit the set, right? Basically, what I would do is I'd upload a new set into here. Jason would see the new set, maybe a new different date and time. I would alert him that this has been updated. And then he would come in at whatever time he starts his day and make markups. And I'd come in, address those markups, republish a new PDF into here for him to review. That's one work. That's just one of many workflows. But you're not deleting this PDF here and then or downloading it, right? Save as, sorry. And then from there re-uploading it as a like I added a page to this complete set. That's not what it's meant to be. Because it's meant to be a markup of the current state of the current document set.
So that's a good question from Dan here. So is Sessions more for construction than design, since the sheets are constantly being updated? And I think it can go either way, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you work at a engineering firm, architecture firm that has multiple offices, for example, right? We all can't go in the conference room and look at the same PDF. So in a design workflow, it comes in pretty handy when you're looking at making changes to your resulting base files.
Yep.
I would totally use it that way. On the construction side, you know, you shouldn't be doing as much marking up, but you would be doing more punch listing. You would be doing more verification. You would be doing more things related to that activity. Can it be used for both? Absolutely. How you use it on your projects is up to you, right?
You just have to be aware of like its limitations. And that's kind of what we're hitting on is it's limited to not downloading, updating, wanting to document manage the PDF. It's marking up the current state of the uploaded PDF set is what it's meant to be. Whatever current state you need to mark up a PDF set is up to you.
Correct. And that said, again, next week, we're going to dive more into studio projects and the best practices. And we will revisit studio sessions because they're sort of related when we're talking about it next week. So it will be a little bit more interesting when it comes to best practices and helping you and your firm figure out what the best workflow is. You know, obviously, if you're not already in the review ecosystem, it's going to be a hard battle. But
Yeah.
if you're already there, use what you have.
Yeah, and the only other like comparison from ACC, so if we reflect back, you have all of these. They do have issue tracking, but you have like punch lists and RFIs directly in cloud. Now, RFIs from a perspective of using ACC, it's in build,
Mhm.
and we're talking about, I guess, I mean, the whole cloud platform. I guess we could talk about build.
We didn't talk about that. So let's wrap up today with our 4 minutes left and talk about sort of the can of worms that we opened up saying Autodesk Construction Cloud.
Yeah. So Autodesk Construction Cloud is the platform. In the platform, there's different modules. I hope this is the vein you're talking about me explaining. Is that correct? Okay.
Yep.
So Autodesk Construction Cloud is a platform. That's what we labeled this as. There's different modules in that platform. You have docs, you have design collaboration, model coordination, you have build, you have takeoff, and some other things, which I could just look so that I'm not.
Yeah, build, BIM Collaborate Pro, Docs, Takeoff. Is Insight part of that? I don't know. Did you freeze up? You froze up. So yeah, Autodesk Construction Cloud is the unified platform, and then there's different modules. So it's kind of like those who remember having cable packages, right? You have a basic cable, and then you add on your sports shows, and then you add on your premium movie channels, and then you add on those things too.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. So yeah, sorry. Docs, basically you get different license types to access these different modules. So there's docs, you get access just to docs. You get BIM Collaborate, and that means you get access to docs, design collaboration, model coordination, but you're not a designer in Revit, so you don't need Pro, which is live collaboration, or you're not a designer in Civil 3D because you can put Civil 3D up here and you're using coordination, right? From design collaboration working simultaneously. So that being said, Construction Cloud is a platform. Modules are here. How do I get access to these modules? Are these different license types? So you have docs, BIM Collaborate Pro, you'll hear. And then you have a build license. And I don't know like how takeoff works because I've never gotten into that, but I would assume, do we still have some folks on here? Kayla jumped in earlier. I would have asked her to say something. Do we have Ted still in here? No. Okay. So I don't know about like takeoff. I would assume it's probably a separate cost.
It is.
But that's what you get. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to be able to go through and purchase a license type that gives you access to these different modules. So that's holistically looking at it. Now, from cloud platform, this is included in your subscription. The basic tier doesn't give you a lot of access. You can view things as a free viewer. I don't think you can mark up. You can't mark up, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you can mark up. Or in complete, give you the full capabilities to do whatever you want in the cloud platform. So essentially it's included where only docs is included in the AEC collection, which is what we were doing, which was marking up. But if you don't have an AEC collection, which is what, 3,500 last time we looked, 3,700, you're not able to mark up. But with that, did I miss anything in the chat as I froze up?
No, just on the sheets that was shown before with markups was docs. So we did most of what Michael showed you today on Autodesk Construction Cloud was Autodesk docs. So a lot of you have that already if you have the Autodesk AEC collection. You just might not be leveraging it. So a little bit of a teaser, but we've got tons of other resources on our YouTube channel, not just the MCR one, but the Autodesk or the ATG one. Go take a look at it. If you have any questions about how to leverage it or what do you have already, reach out to us at ATG. We're happy to help you. But that brings us to our time for today. Next week, of course, we're going to dive more into studio session projects. So it will sort of be a continuation of today's topic. That said, Have a good week, everybody. Stay safe out there. And Michael, send us out of here.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your week.
All right, take care.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of the other content on our channel.